Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Just wait.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, your picture not visible, sir.
I have not switched on my camera. That is why I am not visible.
Okay.
So today we will start the last module. So this module is about ethics in IT, medical, engineering, and public offices. Okay. What is IT?
Information technology.
Information technology.
So why are we talking of ethics in IT?
Because
What is it?
Yeah, somebody was trying to answer, please.
Sir, what is it?
I could not get you.
Sir, cyber সংক্রান্ত চোরি
Cyber chori. What is cyber chori, by the way?
Cyber crime.
Sir, this is Subrat Kumar, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, IT is one of the most important area because the cyber fraud, that means anyone can hack your system if you are not properly on the password like security or something like that. And that's why IT department is very important department organization. They have to just control all the data. So maybe can just hack that data from company systems and laptop, like something like that.
It is hacking into your system, blocking your system.
Yes. If there any virus, any software, I mean any link.
Just a minute.
Blocked by IT department.
Just a minute, Subrat. Anyone whose mic is unmute, please try to avoid that because unnecessary noises distract everyone. Okay. So kindly, if you are in a family or somewhere you are attending, just out of compulsion, please switch off your mic. That is better. Yeah. Anyone else who was trying to speak? Sakti, someone.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Sir, IT is a vast things. We have our data security, mail etiquettes, mail passwords. All those things are come under this. Mail data security and mail etiquette, mail passwords, every password data.
Basically, it is regarding security of your information. Now we are into a time when we are doing most of our work online. We are passing most crucial information about ourselves online. We are doing banking, we are doing ordering things, receiving things, many things we are doing. We are transacting by mail. Many informations are getting shared. Your movement is also tracked because if you share your location or if you allow Google to track your movement, you can. So all sorts of information is available in cyberspace for any individual or group or even for government. Now, security of that information is one of the biggest challenge. Now imagine a scene when someone who is in charge of the information or who is handling that information, if he becomes unethical, if he tries to make money by selling those information, then what will be your state of, what will be your state? How much loss a country, individual, and society will make? So that is why ethics in IT is one of the biggest thing. And now wherever there is a transaction of data, it is the duty of the authority who are facilitating that to ensure security. If you visit, many government sites in your in web through internet, you will find many government sites do not have a proper technical security certificate. In many cases, if you have proper antivirus, licensed antivirus in your laptop or PC, it will stop you from getting into those sites. It will say these are potentially unsafe things. I have seen in many online sites where applications are to be uploaded, where someone has to apply. There, these things do happen. So that is what is one of the major issues. Second is software piracy. Nowadays, this has come down because the companies have realized that charging a high price and motivating people to go for pirated software is unnecessary. So now they have at least made the license fees reasonable, so many of us can afford to buy and install. Earlier, I'm talking of 90s. When you go to some big cities like Mumbai or Delhi, you will get on footpath, and also you will get CDs of pirated software. But pirated software are, again, as you know, there is every possibility that there will be further trouble in your system. So that is one area where ethics in IT matters. If you are a ethical user, many companies, small companies, I've seen when they started business in 90s or early 2000, they were all resorting to pirated software. They were not interested to even have a certified copy of Microsoft Office and all, which they were using for everything. So that is one. Second, and the next part of IT, which is the future of IT, is artificial intelligence. This is where the challenges for future remains, because artificial intelligence will make robots and other machines very near to human capability. It can predict many things. Can anybody give me example of artificial intelligence we are encountering every day?
Yes, sir.
Face recognition.
Alexa.
One by one, please. One by one.
Google Assistant, Alexa.
What else? How many of you use Google Assistants regularly?
Sir, it's a camera.
Camera. What is the camera?
In mobile camera, we have AI mode.
But what else when you are typing a message, when the simplest example is when you are typing using your keyboard or message or in your mobile and all, you get prompted for various words. Autocorrect is one, but you are also prompted to write the next word. What can be the next word? They try to predict based on your earlier experiences and all.
Yes, sir.
So all these are all small examples of artificial intelligence. They are trying to bring
ChatGPT.
What you said?
ChatGPT, recent AI developed.
What is that?
Sir, it is the माने एटारे आपण किछि भी कहिले से वीडियो फॉर्मेट रे आपण को वीडियो करी के देबे पूरा.
There are many. There are many. Now, like this voice recognition software, there are many, and artificial intelligence is trying to mimic a human being, and that is where we are into challenge. We are into future challenges. Then next is, today's parents are keen to record so much of their children's life, uploading everything in social media. These records can follow their children for the rest of their lives. Parental ignorance. This is also one of the things. I have also come across a news article, some I think 1 or 2 years back, when a mother was, has uploaded most of the photographs of her child going to school, coming from there, the name, the buses, everything was there. And, by using that, some of the miscreants, they could kidnap the child and ask for ransom. So that is where, again, we all have to be very careful. And every day, fake profiles. Anu Misra, please switch off your mic. Anu Misra, please switch off your mic. ପଛପଟେ ସବୁ ନଏଜ୍ ଚାଲିଛି ଆଉ ମାଇକ୍ ଟା ଅନ୍ କରିଦଉଛନ୍ତି। ଆମ ମ୍ୟାନେଜମେଣ୍ଟ ର କିଏ ଡିଡିସି ର କିଏ ଅଛନ୍ତି?
ଆରେ ଦିଦି ମାଇକ୍ ଅଫ୍ କର ନା।
जा भलो पानी दे
Come on yaar, we are not child, come on.
मामा वो चुन्ना जंती थला जे इंदे की बिंदा
से एक्चुअली सर मोबाइल गपुजी ना सेति लागि प्रॉब्लम होछि।
अनु मिश्रा
she is not there in the system.
Exactly, don't behave like a child yaar.
He is there in the system, but
पिल्ला एम जानता हूं
से पूरा मुश्किल ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଡିଡିସି वाला ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ବନ୍ଦ କରିକି ରଖିଥାନ୍ତି, କିନ୍ତୁ କଣ କରିବା, ବିନା ବନ୍ଦ ହେଇଗଲେ interaction and that is these are all part of ethics. When everyone should be aware what you are doing.
Yes sir, you are right sir.
Next is automotive. This is one of the biggest challenge which is coming for us. Self-driving cars being developed, the ethical issue is whose life to save, the pedestrians or the passengers when a car is faced with an accident. This is the example is, when you have a driverless car, everybody is developing, and that is what is going to be in future. Now, when you have a driverless car, when there is a possibility of an accident, somebody has just come, because when you are driving or a human being driving, then there is when you encounter somebody comes just in front of your car, the natural tendency is to divert your car and save that fellow. And by that, most of the accidents takes place. By trying to save a cow, by trying to save a cyclist, or by trying to save a scooter fellow who unknowingly came into your way, when you are driving at a speed, and then the driver generally takes a turn, and then there is a possibility of accident. That is the normal thing happening. Now, when there is no driver, when the car is being driven by artificial intelligence, and if the car is programmed to save the passengers, he will see. He may be, suppose the logic is to evaluate. Suppose there are 5 people inside the car and 1 pedestrian is there. So for an artificial intelligent thing, it may appear that 5 lives are more important than 1 life, so he will dash and go. Maybe. And this is one possibility where the driverless car or self-driving car will encounter, and that is why these developments are taking so much, and we have to change logics and all. There was a film, I think Hindi film, with a recently 1 year or something back, where the car hit somebody and all, and that was the story. It was an intelligent car. Then next is health insurance. Whether this is also an ethical issue, whether the personal information gathered about how a person eats, how much he exercises, where he spends his time can be used to decide about whether they are good bet for insurance or employment. Then this is also a big issue. There was in WhatsApp group, there was a message or it was a joke type of thing, where the fellow was ordering pizza or something, and Google has tracked all its movement and even medical information, because he has visited hospitals and he has got the medical reports through his mail. So all was available to Google, and they have seen that the fellow is prone to hypertension, so Google will stop you from buying pizza. It it will ask the ordering, it will not allow you to order a pizza, something like that. So that joke was. So so if health companies, they track your movement, your everything from various sources, and when you go for your insurance, they will say, no, you can't get because your lifestyle doesn't indicates that you will be having such and such issues. That can be a possibility. Similarly, gathering your information and allowing and refusing you employment in a company when you apply, that also is going to be another issue. Then the next thing which is coming is cloud-based data. You know, cloud storage is independent of geographical boundary. When you are uploading something to cloud in India, where is it stored? Are you sure that it is stored in India or it is being stored somewhere else?
Anywhere, sir.
Anywhere. So now the law of the land will not apply. That is another problem. Okay, because you know that law of India will not be applicable in law of if the server is in US or somewhere else in South America or Southeast Asia, some other place, then the Indian law will not apply. The crime will be done in India, but the cyber thing is based on cloud and it has come from Taiwan or somewhere, so you don't know what to do. And now that is why international rules and regulations are being framed to handle those crimes, and that is where another ethical issue is coming. So European community has created the General Data Protection Regulation to protect the transmission and exportation of European private data through cloud. So that they have already done, and other countries has to follow. Public life. In Toronto, a smart city is being planned by Sidewalk Labs, a Google-owned project. Here, all the data of every person will be monitored and stored. Now, the question is how the data is planned to be distributed and to whom. Similarly, whether facial recognition software will be used and how much person-specific data will be collected. So this is another ethical issue, big ethical issue in IT sector. Then wrong use of information. It has come to notice that some crimes like stalking, blackmailing, robbery is taking place based on information available on Google. These data have been derived by Google from mobile and phone usage. There have been many cases of like this. You know, if you store your locations, home address, office address for ease of driving in Google Map, you know, if somebody hacks into your account, then he can get those information. So he knows exactly where you are, where is your office, where is your home. So many things, and even your relatives and all that can be open to them. So that is where again ethical issue will come. The next is ethics in healthcare. I think most of you, when asked whether the healthcare system in India is ethical or unethical, most of you will have same answer, I think. So what is your answer? How much ethics you see in healthcare system in India?
No, unethical.
Very immediate answer.
Yes,
how come it is unethical? Tell me.
Doctor is very keen to do business, not to serve patients.
So what alternative? How come you are so sure that the doctor is doing business?
Sir, it's not
not curing the patient.
Sir, I can. This is Subrat Kumar.
Please wait.
Yes, sir.
Let the lady. Sure. I didn't see her name, but let her say.
Sure, sir.
Sir, they are very much focused on if you go to a doctor in corporate hospital, they won't focus on your problems. They will just write the test. Please do this test. After that, we will see what.
Who decides? Who decides which tests are necessary and which are unnecessary?
Sir, if you go with that particular disease,
I have gone. I'm a older person than you. I have visited, but I am asking a simple question. Please see, this is where we have to be very careful.
Sir, for the same disease. Sir, for the same disease, when you visit some nearby
who is the expert for a disease? What is required and what is not required? Who is the expert on that? Whose opinion matters? Your or the doctors? Actually, this is why I brought this topic. This is another area where we are all in trouble. When you see a medicine in Google or you search in Google for a treatment of a disease, how confident are you that whatever is written in Google is correct?
Sir, I am not saying this on the basis of Google. I am saying it on the basis of my brother is a doctor. He is an orthopedic doctor. When he's not here, so I visited another doctor for my problem. But that doctor took unnecessary test and prescribed some unnecessary medicines. When I showed that to my brother, he told, "Don't take this. I will give you some. That will be beneficial for you." That doctor wrote unnecessarily give vitamins tablets unnecessarily that not doesn't require. I am not going on the Google thing, but I am saying it on my practical experience.
You are saying just because your brother said. I'm not belittling anyone. Please listen to me. I understand your problem. I am also of the view that certain doctors are not very ethical in their treatment and they are unnecessarily putting putting the patient into trouble. I agree. I have to some extent, but the general perceptions that in corporate hospitals doctors are taking unnecessary money is again a very common view in India, and that is based on, I don't think it is all based on proper logic. Now, when your brother says that something is to be taken and something is not to be taken, madam, it is very, if you go to two doctors for the same disease, I'm not saying your brother, suppose fortunately you have a brother who is a doctor, so the issue is something different. But if you go to two doctors for the same disease, if they are not related to you, any one of them, are you sure that they will give the same treatment?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What? Yes, sir.
No, sir, they will not.
Sir, they won't.
Because the perception of a doctor differs. And if in your case, suppose you are a teacher or you are a something, you are a professional in your own way, two professionals will always have two different opinions. What is great about that?
Yes, sir.
And tell me, how many of us are confident when someone is having a heart attack or someone is having a serious orthopedics issue or some operation, and how many of us are very confident that if you go to a district headquarter hospital or a government hospital setup, you will be cured?
बिना पैसा रे आज्ञा किछि होनी लांच देवा पड़ुछि सबुठे
भारत वर्षरे लांच देवाटा गोटे साधारण कथा मत खाली आपण हॉस्पिटल कथा काई कहउचंती
सर सेटा अनएथिकल
लांचटा तो अनएथिकल भारत वर्षटा सेम चलछि आमे वर्तमान जो कथा होछि ता विषय कथा हवा ए भारत रो एथिकल इशू आनले हम पाठ पढा बंद नै जिवो
यस सर
मु आपण मानक विषय कहउछि जो माने स्टूडेंट एटी अछंती मु 2015 7 वर्ष होला पढौछि मु पार्ट टाइम पढाए मु गोटे खुशी रे पढाए लोकन को मोर पिला को पढियार जो माने देखिकरी माने आज पर्यंत 7 वर्ष रे मोर जहा अनुभूति पिला माने के पाठ पढिया को आसंती खाली परीक्षा दे की पास हो आसंती
Yes, sir.
How ethical is that?
True,
sir.
So say so let us not deviate. Our topic is ethics in healthcare. What madam is saying, there are some cases, and that is how healthcare system and corporate hospitals are badnaam hi jaujandi. Mane they are earning a bad reputation.
Sir,
but we are also
sir यार मझिरे में ऐड करिया चाहिए सर मुझे कहते एक्चुअली डॉक्टर जो मुझे कहते डॉक्टर मान जो गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर जो डॉक्टर्स है वो एक्चुअली ना एक तो टाइम से आते नहीं है वो एक मेन प्रॉब्लम जो मेरा ओपिनियन था वो सेकेंडली वो जो हेल्थ केयर में दे आर नॉट एथिक्स एंड वो प्राइवेट क्लिनिक खोली चंदी सेत्रे जाई से माने बेसी टाइम स्पेंड करंती
that is there.
They are not professional है ना इन एथिक्स एंड हेल्थ केयर अगर गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट है तो टाइमली वो मेंटेन होने पंक्चुअल नंती से माने एक्चुअली
सेटा तो एकदम सत कथा सेमान तो कटक रे हां
सर खाली गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल ले न
दीदीटा तीन माइक ऑन करंतु जणे जणे कोंतु अन्य माने बंद करंतु सुशांत बाबू कोंतु
सर खाली गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल न प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल ले गोटे एक्सपीरियंस आपण संगे शेयर करछि सर लास्ट ईयर मोर गोटे फ्रेंड रो फादर को कोविड हेइतला से भुवनेश्वर गोटे प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल एडमिटेड हेले दी दिन पर तांका कंडीशन बहुत बेटर थिला से भलसे कथा होतले पूरा फ्रीली आ कहतले मो भलो हो जाई छै मो जिबी एरी घर को बहुत जल्दी इन तार फेरी नेक्स्ट डे रु तांको सहित किछि कांटेक्ट करे दिया गलानी आ 3 दिन पर खबर आसला कि तांकर डेथ हो जाई छै लास्ट नाइट रे
कोंतु
सर तापरे भी हमें खबर पाइलु जे से हॉस्पिटल लो पर डे डेथ रेट थिला 100 प्लस जेटा कि से माने एरिया गोटे माने बाळकाटी पटको थिला से हॉस्पिटल टा तार डेथ रेट बहुत अधिक थिला तो माने अदर हॉस्पिटल्स तुलना रे तार डेथ रेट बहुत एक्सेस थिला
आपण काई
श्री
जाइथिले
सबरी हॉस्पिटल
आपण सिटी काई जाइथिले Oh, Shunantu, Martan Kathala, these are all happening. I'm not denying anything, but the issue is, let us not generalize that every treatment, everything is done by a doctor. There are good doctors, and we all know that many lives are being saved by efficient management of efficient doctors in very advanced hospital. Whenever you talk of cancer, you go to a hospital like Tata Memorial or some other big hospital. When you talk of heart, you will like to go to Asian Heart Hospital. You will not try to do it in a small or even AIMS like thing, because you need professional, and when you go to a professional hospital, the charges are more. The costs are more, the charges are more, and you can't deny. But the general tendency also is that we try to evaluate a doctor's approach or opinion based on our own knowledge, which is again not a proper thing. I can give you, I have many doctors in my family. It is not 1 or 2, it is around 6 to 8. And I am give an example when one doctor has suffered from some accident and had some orthopedic operation. The doctor himself fell and the operation was done by another doctor. So yesterday some review was done and the X-ray was done. So when they saw the X-ray, there was another doctor available there, again from my family. When they saw the X-ray, they were thinking that the wound has not healed. But when they were very sad and they were not very happy about the whole progress. But when he met the doctor who has made the operation and who is the orthopedic expert, he said, okay, whatever is done and it is well done. It is not bad. When the problem is getting solved, it is gradually it will get solved, but you can start walking start practicing walking, dhire dhire karantu. So what I am saying is, again, when I came out, I asked these two doctors, what you are saying, bhai, X-ray dekh ke to tum aisa bol rahe ho ki bhai kuch nahi hua, but udhar bol raha hai ki aisa hota hai, so then they said, bhai, it is based on his experience. He knows that it will take so much time. That is why he said. So there are so many cross opinions and all, but we have to be careful. But it is what are important things in ethics in healthcare is confidentiality. The patient's information about health should be kept by the doctor and the hospital. It should not be disclosed to anyone. Then when you are in a hospital, it is the responsibility of the hospital to take precautions against transmission of diseases. Hospitals are one of the biggest source of various bacteria and others. When you visit a hospital, that is also an issue. So that is another, the hospitals or the maintenance of hospital has to be proper. But I can give you examples of hospitals in Cuttack when crores of many people get treated. They do not have minimum standard of hygiene. That is one of the biggest, because in Cuttack, the nursing homes, the so-called nursing homes are operated by even quacks or even medical representatives and all. So there are so many cases, and that is how we are, we as a health industries are operating. But if you go to a corporate hospital, at least there is some sense of cleanliness and hygiene. So that is another issue. Aggressive marketing practices. Certain guidelines, ethics, and standards need to be followed in promoting and marketing a hospital service. Recommending unnecessary services to a patient just for the sake of profit. This is one of the area in India where certain things have taken place. Even, it is unnecessary tests and all, that is one. And, they make like, you have undergone an X-ray, then some operation has been done. And after, as a follow-up, they have done another X-ray. It is understandable. But when you get discharged after 4 days, they will do another X-ray. Maybe it is unnecessary. I'm not saying it is unnecessary, but they may do it and you may have to pay for it. The main goal of the hospital should be patient care, not marketing schemes, and not promoting what they don't treat. So that is another. In Cuttack, every nursing home can do everything. They will advertise because they do not have a panel of doctors. They can contact the doctor in SCB Medical College. Any problem you have, they will contact and he will come and treat you there. So it is none of their business. So they can promise you moon, but that is not ethical. Hospital not specializing in cancer treatment, undertaking a cancer surgery. This is one of the biggest problem I have seen in present day, because in Orissa there are not much qualified oncosurgeons. So what has happened is till now surgery specialists have been doing oncosurgeon, which is a totally very different work. Surgery, normal general surgery is one and oncosurgery is one. So you have to be very careful in doing that. So, and nowadays people are now inquiring, when they go to a hospital, if cancer is detected and there is a need for surgery, then they will ask whether he is a MCH degree holder or not, whether he has done the super specializations on oncosurgery or not. So that is where again there are many issues. Similarly, if you are talking of blood cancer, you are talking of some blood related treatments, then you must have a hematology specialist. These are all the things which one has to, and in news you must have seen that in government hospitals even the compounder and all are giving treatment in many cases. Somebody wants to say something? Okay. Next is advertising. The information that a hospital provides to advertising company needs to be 100% accurate and honest. It is important that the advertisements for the hospital and services are not misleading or false. Patient welfare. Healthcare professionals should always safeguard the welfare of their patients. It is also important that physicians are honest with their patients. A patient should never be discriminated based on race, income, or sex. Then elderly patients. Dealing with elderly patients may sometimes pose problem with regards to ethical decision making, since they are not capable of making rational decisions on their own. So these are the areas of ethics in health related issues. Next is terminally ill patients. Dealing with an issue such as euthanasia is very difficult. There is a provision for ichha mrityu. If you want to die, you can opt for euthanasia, and that is there in some countries like Switzerland and Sweden and all. Not in many countries. In India, it is banned. In Australia and other also is banned. So there was a case, I think 2-3 years back, when an Australian elderly fellow, he opted for euthanasia and has to leave Australia and go to Sweden or Switzerland and got that. So it was done because in that country it is legal. But this is again a very big question a doctor has to face. We know that in cancer and others, it is very difficult to survive. But then the doctor suppose says your father or mother or your relative is at the 4th stage of cancer. Now, the doctor knows that there is not much, may not be much benefit if the treatment is done. But can they advise कि भाई ठीक है ले जाओ छोड़ो don't नहीं करते हैं? This will be unethical, and so that is where they have they have to decide. Then sexual harassment. This has been some cases where lady patients are mistreated. Then therapies. Deciding about best technique and therapies for a patient or victim so that any trauma or stress related to an offending incident can be alleviated. So this is for psychological need of some patients. Next is ethics in engineering. Again, like medical sciences, how many of you believe that engineering works in India are again ethical or unethical?
Yes, sir. Sir, appointment ପାଇଁ website रे जाकी check କରିବାକୁ ପଡୁଛି ନା तो web designer ସେଠି ଦରକାର
ବୁଝିଗଲାନି
सर ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन हमरो डॉक्टर माने से देखिया ପାଇଁ
सेटा तो सब
पड़े ना
हमें वर्तमान एथिक्स इन इंजीनियरिंग पढुछे
सर सुब्रत कुमार अगर आप मैं बोल सकता हूँ सर
प्लीज
सर जो इंजीनियरिंग एथिक्स में जो है ना इंजीनियरिंग का जो उनका टेक्नोलॉजी एक्टिविटी में उनका इन्वॉल्व रहता है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन
I am asking like medicals, health area, as we most of us feel that there are many unethical practices. How many of you also believe that engineering in the areas of engineering there is also many unethical practices going on in India? Or
ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଆମର सर ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଆମ ବ୍ରିଜ ଆଉ ରୋଡ ସବୁ ସର ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟର ଅଫ ସେଫ୍ଟି ହାଇ ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟର ଅଫ ସେଫ୍ଟି ରେ ଡିଜାଇନ କରିବାକୁ.
But what is the problem of high factor of safety? Why are you talking? Why are you relating high factor of safety to unethical thing?
Sir, one thing is that stealing is everywhere.
Are you an engineer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then how you are saying that factor of safety, increasing factor of safety is an unethical thing?
No, sir. I am saying that, sir, the factor of safety is knowingly increased due to this steel thing is there. चोरी होबो बोली सर समस्त जानि चंती सेतमे ऊपर ही डिजाइन करा हेते हाई फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी किछि मात्रा रे चोरी होबो ही होबो.
No, but what do you mean by saying that? You are saying that people knowingly to accommodate unethical practices, they increase the factor of safety. Are you trying to say like that?
Yes, sir.
So are you a designer in any public sector or government organization?
No, sir. I am saying about civil things, sir.
I know. Where are you working? Where are you working? If you are a civil engineer, where are you working?
No, sir. I am not a civil engineer. I am a mechanical engineer, sir.
Mechanical engineer. Where are you working?
Sir, I am working in Nalco, sir.
Nalco.
National company. Yes, sir.
तो तमरो सिविल डिपार्टमेंट रे भी सिया हुए.
सर सिविल डिपार्टमेंट रे आमो कंपनी कथा हम कोन से नॉर्मल लाइफ कथा कहउतली सर. नॉर्मल रोड एंड ब्रिजेस जोडा होउची सर. रोड एंड ब्रिजेस रे हमर सर एक्सीडेंट तो नॉर्मली सर ब्रिज भांगीबा कि भाई रास्ता भांगी जीवा.
काहे के होची? Is it because of higher factor of safety or wrong workmanship?
No sir. I am saying that there is still any no ethics in this designing manufacturing construction. No ethics in construction there. That's why the designer has to increase the factor of safety to minimize the risk of breakage. Or
you are saying something but you are putting it in a different way. See, whatever design has been done, it is based. See, a higher factor of safety is a wrong concept you are putting in. I am not agreeing to that. But the problem why the roads are failing or bridges are failing and why work is not, the roads and whatever they are doing, buildings are cracking and all that is because of bad workmanship. It has really nothing to do with engineering. You know, when you talk of construction of house in India, how many of you are sure that most of the houses in India which are constructed in every places are even designed by an engineer or even an architect or even supervised an engineer? No, generally nobody uses an engineer for that. You know, the mason is efficient enough to construct a house in India and you depend on him and he does it and you live happily. It doesn't collapse. But
okay, sir. But the houses are not demolishing, na, sir. The houses are not.
Why not?
Breaking.
They are not getting damaged because, you know, when you are making your own house or somebody is making, he is taking care of the material. And the main problem of bridge construction and everything is, you know, the contractor is cheating on even cement and sand and even the chips. They are not.
Yes, sir.
But that is not a design issue. That is a workmanship issue. That is a cheating of when you are working. So that is unethical. I agree. But when you are tying up both the things, ki sir design besi hai tha, seta bhul kotha. Kintu bridge
mo kaya katha thila sir bharat re normal design kui
tomro jaha kahar thila seta mo bujhili ni kintu tome katha ta ku bujhuno tome se unnecessary dita jinsa ku jod. Design is not having a higher factor of safety is not unethical. I don't agree that it is unethical. But when you do not work properly, that is unethical, and that is why India is failing. Road construction बेलकु जतकी compaction हवा कथा सेतिकी हवा नहीं, जो material use करिया कथा सेतिकी use हवा नहीं, जेमती curing हवा कथा सेमती curing हवा नहीं, automatically जिनसो weak ही जो खराब ही जो भांगी जो, and that is workmanship. That is not the design issue. That is issue when the work was executed. So in engineering field, but the ethics comes when you talk of designing or when you are planning. Where engineering knowledge is being used, if you do not use proper knowledge, and you are doing something like you are a mechanical engineer and you start deciding or designing a building or a bridge or a overbridge or whatever structure, then that becomes wrong. And in many places in India, that is being done also. You do not have just like
exactly what you were saying. That happened before some years. I think it is in 2003 in Balco plant in Korba. A chimney.
No. That was because that chimney fell down because the agency which was engaged to make that chimney didn't had prior experience. Chimney making has a the chimney making is a special technique. The slip form technique is a special technique, and all contractors cannot do that. They have to have prior experience. And in Balco case, that was one of the issue, that the agency which was fixed was not qualified enough to handle that issue. I remember that. But what I'm trying to say is, suppose, when we talk of electrical wiring in our house, whom we engage? We engage a person who is an electrician by name or by profession. But whether he has qualification, we don't know. And based on his experience, he has become an electrician and he does everything. And but there again, he was that factor of safety. He was saying, if you take people who are not trained, who are not knowledgeable, then they will all. It is always true that they will go for higher factor of safety. Like suppose you are asking a mason to design your building, he will use more large size of rod, steel. Then if you go get the design done through a structural engineer. So that is the only thing. But even if you use higher steel, it will cost you more, but it will not make your building unnecessarily. It will not make your building unsafe. So that is what I was trying to say. Unsafe buildings are, or unsafe structures are coming because contractors are doing it in a bad way. They are not doing the right thing. So to accept responsibility in making engineering decisions consistent with safety, health and welfare of public, and to disclose promptly factors that might endanger the public or the environment. Like in, now the beautification work in Bhubaneswar is going on. They are painting the dividers in the road and the pavements and all. People are, without any barrier, there is nothing. They are only sitting with a brush and doing. So if a driver loses his control for 1 second, many of the painters will die. Because, nothing is being done. There is no sign, nothing. You will suddenly, if you're going a little unmindful, then you are gone. You will kill that fellow. And this is where in many places you will find in India, this is happening. The people who are whitewashing buildings, they just come down the ladders with rope, without any safety belt and all. They keep on working like that. So these are the areas of compromising safety and all, and these are not ethical as per engineering standard. To avoid real or perceived conflicts of interest whenever possible, and to disclose them to the affected parties when they do exist. Conflict of interest, do you know what is that? Phone ta bond kar diyantu, nijara mic ta bond kar diyantu. When your son or child is talking, please switch off your mic. So, conflict of interest is what? Okay. So, conflict of interest is if you are doing something in a firm, you are working and you compromise or to bring in people or agencies who are less experienced, but because you have a stake in there, that can be a conflict of interest. So that is where you have to really be really careful. To be honest and realistic in stating claims or estimate based on available data. Again, in government, the estimates are always higher because, as Prabir was saying, they have to account for many issues. So their basic the estimates are higher. So even if somebody makes money, still the structure will exist. But nowadays even So people are getting into the even many the safety margins also. Then reject bribery in all form. That is required for all engineering things. It means all part, not engineering only. To improve the understanding of technology, its appropriate application and potential consequences. This is another issue. You know, when nowadays technology, we have technology in many areas, but earlier in 80s or 90s, India was lacking many technologies. So technology were getting imported. So that was one engineering decision was to be taken. Very serious engineering decision was to be considered. Now, at that time, many countries were those foreign countries who were supplying technology were only giving the substandard or not the latest technology to India. And in some cases, the agents who were representing the foreign companies, they would collude with the officials of the Indian company and take not the best technology, but something which is lower than the best at a very higher cost, because technology as it is high cost. So that is another issue, because if you are taking a technology which is nearing obsolescence, then after again some years you have to go for updated technology, and for that again you have to pay something. So while selecting technology, we have to be very careful. Another point in technology selection is, India has a different economic and social status as compared to any European, Japanese or Korean even. So now when you are adopting a technology for India, you should be clear that whether we have such skilled people in India or not. If you are bringing a machine where operators cannot operate, then there is no point in buying that machine, that will go waste. There is a very glaring example of bad technology choice, which is Haldia Petrochemicals project. It was there. It has been there for quite, I think, maybe 30-40 years, and it never operated well once it was commissioned. And only after some Bengali group, TN or some group, Chatterjee group, they took over from Government of India, and then Haldia is now operating. What happened in Haldia refinery? It was done through the earlier USSR collaboration with India. So in that communist era, what happened is, through a government-to-government agreement, they supplied machines for the Haldia Petrochemicals complex, and the machine came from most of the communist country during that time, like something from USSR, something from Czechoslovakia, something from Bulgaria, and all that. Now there was a mismatch, and because those government were keen to give something which they have, and nobody in India took the responsibility of seeing whether they are appropriate or not, we got something which was not producing anything. And that is how the Haldia Petrochemical Refinery languished for many years. So that is another area where ethical things have to, ethics in engineering has to be followed. Next point is to maintain and improve their technical competence and to undertake technological tasks for others only if qualified by training or experience. I have seen in my working life of 30-35 years that many people who are not qualified, they do work for others for areas which they are not qualified. Like, if you are as I said in the beginning also, if you are a mechanical engineer, you start doing things for civil engineering, then it is wrong. Even if you are a civil engineer doing things for mechanical engineering, then it is also wrong. So, and there are many, like, we don't consider architects as a necessary part of many building plan. But, when you talk of civil structural work, architect is something different. And architecture is application of architecture is needed for having a very good building, which is a habitable building, which can be used efficiently. You need architecture for that. We only think that architecture is for making the facade beautiful, but that is not. Architecture also looked into comfort of people who will use that building. So that is another area where we neglect generally. To seek, accept, and offer honest criticism of technical work, to acknowledge and correct errors, and to credit properly the contributions of others. This is also engineering ethics. To treat fairly all persons regardless of such factors as religion, gender, disability, age, and national origin. This is true for all spheres of profession. to avoid injuring others, their property, reputation, or employment by false or malicious action. If you are suppose there is some demolition action, demolition has to be done. I think by the order of Supreme Court, one or two towers in Noida were exploded this year by a company. So imploded, not exploded. So that is another big technique. If you do something which will harm your neighbor, you have to, as an engineer, you have the responsibility to contain that. Then to assist colleagues and co-workers in their professional development and to support them in following their codes of ethics. So this is also part of engineering ethics. Engineers shall hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of public in performance of their professional duties. One of the biggest ethical problem you will find in engineering is, and that too in civil engineering is, everywhere in our cities we have drains and roads. And every year when the roads are relaid, the heights goes up and building nearby go down. And then the buildings have waterlogging problem. Similarly, we have drain, we have road. But during heavy rain, you find that most of the roads are flooded, and where what drains are taking, we don't know. So this is one of the reason, and this is not only seen in Bhubaneswar, but every big urban area in India, if there is heavy rain, there is water clogging. And I really do not understand why our civil engineering fraternity has not been able to solve this issue. I'm not blaming anyone, but that is where our ethics in engineering is failing. Engineers shall perform services only in the areas of their competence. Engineers shall use public statements, issue public statement only in the objective and truthful manner. Engineers shall act in professional matter for each employer or client as faithful agent or trustee and shall avoid conflicts of interest. Now, suppose you are working in an organization and leaving that and going to a similar organization after some time, you should not divulge the information privy to that organization. You can use your knowledge, but you should not give information to about one organization to the other. Sensitive information at least. General information you can pass on. Suppose you are working in a IT company, doing for some company and developing a program. So once you go back to another company, you should not start doing the same thing there. That is not unethical, but whether you will do or not, that depends on you. Engineers shall build their professional reputation on the merit of their services and shall not compete unfairly with others. Engineers shall act in such a manner as to enhance the honor, integrity, and dignity of the profession. Engineers shall continue their professional development throughout their careers and shall provide opportunities for the professional development of those engineers under their supervision. This is also ethical, and there should not be a inter-competition between senior and junior, and it should be taken care. Next is ethics in public servant. We'll just touch upon this and leave it for tomorrow's classes. Tomorrow, I think, is the last class. And if time permits, tomorrow I will... do you have any notice regarding your exam?
Yes, sir. February 20.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
20th February.
You have only
From 20th February, sir.
Sir, आज last class थी ना?
Sir, Asmi ma'am कल आज भी रो last class.
ठीक है सर.
ये जने माइक रे ऑन करी कोन कहउछन किछि सुना जाउ. काली बीरो लास्ट क्लास आज एला माने आज लास्ट बट वन आज एक्चुअली रश्मि मैडम कोन नेबे कहउतले पुनी तांकर बोधे देह फेव खराब हेगला सो मोर से मते कहइतले चेंज करिया को बट देन आई केम बैक. Okay, so we'll finish tomorrow, and if time permits, I will try to see if I can suggest.
No, sir, we'll do it tomorrow, sir. We'll do it tomorrow.
But how many slides are there? That we have to understand.
Sir, probable question किसी दे देथिले बोलो ही तो.
भलो तो तुम पे सब ही जाना. खाली question टा दे देले. I will try to help you out.
Probable questions.
Probable question किछि देई हबनी. Question to question. I will try to help you by making you understand where from question can come. Don't ask me to give probable question. Okay.
Okay, sir. चलिबो सर. सेति चलिबो.
And कौन चलिबो न चलिबो, let me decide. I will try to help you. Don't worry about that. So after this is next is public servant. I think tapare roila eti. Okay, so we'll deal with this in the next class. And after we finish, if time permits. Who are public servant, by the way? We have 2-3 minutes. Can somebody tell me?
Doctors.
Doctor government है ना जो nurses है government nurses and
Police.
Government officers.
teacher
Government job holders.
Civil servant who got salary from government.
Public servants are only government employees, not any professional. Like if you somebody,
yes sir.
If suppose somebody is in a corporate hospital, even though he is a doctor or she is a nurse, they are not public servants. Public servants are those who are working in government, and these elected people are also public servants. MLA, MPs and all of them are public servants. Because they are drawing their salary or their subsistence from public money. So that is why they are public servants. Okay. So we have talked about ethics in health. We have talked about ethics in IT. We have talked about ethics in engineering. But we all know the biggest area of unethical practices in India is the area of public service. That is one of the most neglected and very, very badly managed area where many unethical practices continue. Prabir, you were trying to say something.
No, sir, I am saying about the politics. You are asking the most corrupted area is unethical area is politics.
So public service is
sir, ମୁଁ actually sir କହିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଥିଲି ସେତେବେଳେ ଯେ sir ଆମର ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଚୋରିଟା ସିକ୍ୱେନ୍ସିଆଲି ଉପରୁ ତଳ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ସମସ୍ତେ ଚୋରି କରିବେ ଆଉ ସମସ୍ତେ ନେଗ୍ଲେକ୍ଟ କରିବେ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ଡିଜାଇନର ମାନେ designers sir.
Our statement I still don't support you. Why things are failing is because of workmen.
No sir.
No. Your statement is wrong. चोरी सुनो तो चोरी तो सब जगह रहउची जेतिकी मार्जिन अछि बा जोटा हमर सीपीडब्ल्यूडी रेट सेथिरे जदी जो पैसा जनरली जदी किए खाय वर्तमान तो एमिति अवस्था हलानी जे टून पैसा रे काम हबो केमति हबो वर्तमान जो स्टेट को हमें ऑलरेडी सेथिरे जेते तुमे ताको डबल एस्टिमेट कोन ट्रिपल एस्टिमेट गले भी से काम सेमति हो काना लोक परा कहली इट इज बेसिकली the contractors and all are totally least bothered. They do not bother.
Sir, खाली contractor नुहे ना sir. ता भितर जेतिकी अछंती समस्त को percentage अछि ना मु सर सेही कथा कहबो चाहूतिले आपको. The engineer itself is involved. The minister is
percentage नेउथिले सुनो civil engineering रे percentage तुमे तो पिला लोक जेते दिन रु civil engineering अछि सेते दिन रु percentage रे चलथिला किंतु there are still buildings and structure which are existing. आजि काहे के एमती होची because एबे जो प्रकार जेमती तमरो बस ड्राइविंग रे जेते एक्सीडेंट मेजर एक्सीडेंट बस बा ट्रक रो होउथला होउची हम जगह रे देखियो सब बेले सुनिबो जे से क्लीनर टा चलोथला बली सो समथिंग इज हैपनिंग लाइक दैट से बस ता जेते बढ़िया डिजाइन हेतले कोन हबो जदी ट्रेन लोक न करी सिमती कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जहा भी डिजाइन हेची मु पूरा कहली जेति की पैसा रे हमरो सिविल स्ट्रक्चरल डिजाइन हुए तार जदी प्रॉपर्ली खर्च होंता ताहले किछि होंता माने काम होंता ताहले किछि होस सेथरे समस्तंगर जेति की परसेंटेज बाहरी जानता किंतु वर्तमान एमिति अवस्था आसलानी जे से परसेंटेज आउ नाही सेरा 100% हे गलानी आ सेथरे वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज प्रॉब्लम इज contractors are not qualified in the sense they do not employ proper people, they do not get into the details ताकर खाली माने लेफ्ट एंड राइट एंड सेंटर खाली पैसा मु फेलियर रो मेन काम हला पुअर वर्कमैनशिप जो जगह रे क्यूरिंग 20 दिन हवा कथा से जरे क्यूरिंग 5 दिन हबो तुमे जहा डिजाइन रखो जहा रखो जते पैसा नियो कि न नियो किंतु सीमेंट जदी कम देई करी जदी क्यूरिंग प्रॉपर्ली करिवो ताहले भी सेटा होता माने मो कहया कथा जे खाली डिजाइन बा ब्राइवरी इज वन बट द मानसिकता ऑफ द माने सिविल इंजीनियर्स आर माने जो माने कॉन्ट्रैक्टरी करचंदी दे आर ताको माने जते ठकी पाले ठकुचंदी आ सबु पैसा नै करी माने बांटी दोचंदी बोली भाबनी से निजे ही बड़ लोक होचंदी बेसी so workmanship is one of the biggest area. Parthasarathi Beoria, you want to say something?
Sir, please show that slide of medical sector, ethics medical sector.
You want to say something or you want to?
No, sir, I just want to take a screenshot of that. Ethics in medical sector.
तमे एटा पाउ न कि पाउच रश्मि मैडम तो पाउ न कि?
Sir, कितना मिले थला?
स्लाइड मिल जाउची सर
हां सब तो सर्कुलेट करथुवे मु सेत ପାଇଁ खाली मोर किछ असुविधा नै देखेबार तुमको
अच्छा
सर मोर गोटे डाउट थिला
आपको
सर ए जन वैक्सीन ट्रायल रे वैक्सीन ट्रायल रे वॉलंटरी नौचंती के डिस्टर्ब कला
हां से पर माइक को तो ऑन करके छाड़ दोचंदी आ कोन कहबो का
सर वैक्सीन ट्रायल रे पीपल माने वॉलंटरी जाउचंती
हां
सेठी ट्रायल बेले कहार मृत्यु हे गला बेले सेटा एथिकल रे जीवो ना अनएथिकल रे जीवो
अनएथिकल कहाँ ले जाओ यदि वैक्सीन नहीं करी के मरी गला हठात unless there is something like improper administration of vaccine किछि भूलभाल करी के देले then it is another issue but there can be various reactions people may be having various issues so I don't
सेटा रिएक्शन ता हेले सा केमती हबो सेटा मु एथिकल ना अनएथिकल रे जीवो पछते
सी वैक्सीन रो रिएक्शन हेले अनएथिकल एथिकल आसीबो नाही जदि पेनिसिलिन हे थाता मु ताको हम कोन बुझथांती जे डॉक्टर जदि जेमती पेनिसिलिन आगरो दउथले पीपल हैव टू फर्स्ट डू ए टेस्टिंग टिके देकी छाड़ देबे एतिकी मिनिट पर जदि स्किन रे रिएक्शन हला ताले ताको पेनिसिलिन दिया हबो नै नले दिया हबो एटा थला रूल किंतु वैक्सीन ने तो जहां टेस्ट हला पर आसला जे इट कैन बी एडमिनिस्टर्ड टू एवरीवन एक्सेप्ट ए फ्यू क्वाले जो लोगों जहां जेंदी जो जाय जर हितो कि प्रेग्नेंट थियो कोन देयर आर सर्टेन ओनली लिमिटेड माने numbers which were where it was risky बोली लिखा हितला so if the doctor is following that or if the nurse is following that then it is not unethical it is you can say bad luck
थैंक यू सर
हेलो सर
हां
सर मु कहू जे माने बहुत न्यूज आउची जे टेक कंपनी माने जे माने लोगो डाटा इनफॉरमेशन को एडवर्टाइजमेंट पे का को बिक्री करंती ताको प्रॉफिट पे
that is
सेटा को
unethical
एथिकल
that is unethical that is one of the biggest unethical practices going on in India okay
सर गोटे डाउट अच्छी हमर ये जो पब्लिक सर्वेंट ऊपर हमर जो माने सोशल वर्क करंती जो माने इलेक्टेड हे ना जस्ट लाइक एग्जांपल गोपबंधु दास वी आर सेइंग राइट similar way there are a lot of people that right now also serving for people
please don't give Gopabandhu Das example and people who are doing social service now
no not elected person I'm saying
and I am even saying those who are social workers there are many social workers I know cannot be equated to Gopabandhu
no not equated not even 1% also I'm saying are we calling those personages as public servant or not
they are not public servant because they are not drawing anything from the government or public exchequer they are not public servant but they are doing service to the public but the ethical standard which is applicable to a public servant is basically who is the one who is employed in a direct or indirect way is it clear
no it is clear but we cannot tell them as a public servant right
you cannot because the public servant definition is one who is drawing something for his service from the public exchequer if you are doing some public service out of your own compassion you are doing on your own then you will have a different this ethics which will teach will read will not be applicable to him because he is not privy to government information he is not privy to sanctioning things he is giving somebody on his own so if he is giving somebody he has his own decision making thing he will take his decision and do now suppose you are a officer who is in charge of distributing scholarship suppose I am just saying or Indira Awas there is a procedure for that you can't differentiate between one or two there are many cases where people are having grudge against one family and they are not giving Indira Awas to them but suppose you are a charitable organization you are a person who you are a trust or something like that you have the decision to decide to give him or somebody else nobody can force you to go and follow a particular rule understood
हां सर बुझियोला जे पैसा नोची गवर्नमेंट तो से माने का पब्लिक सर्वेंट हेला हम कहया जो माने नो नांदी से माने कॉले मध्ये सर्वेंट नहीं
तापर मु जो एग्जांपल टा दिली सेटा बुझी पाले ना नहीं जे मजे करंतु मने करंतु इंदिरा आवास टा बंटा हबो इंदिरा आवास बांटला बेलकू गोटे रूल अछि सरकार कर तो से रूल अनुसार आपण बांटिबे आपण खाली नहीं आपण को से लोकटा भल लागिनी बोली ताको देबेनी सेटा ठीक नहीं किंतु आपण निजे गोटे संस्था करचंदी आपनकर अजा जेजबापा कि कहा नारे गोटे बा को गोटे जे भी हो गोटे ट्रस्ट करचंदी आपण माने 10-15 जन मिसी बा 100 जन मिसी गोटे पैसा जोगाड़ सेई जो पैसाटा आपण काहा को देबे सेटा आपनकर डिसीजन सेटा किए कोन करिवो केई नै काना सेटा आपनकर निज पैसा आपण जदि काहा को देबेनी बोली कहबे कि आपण मना करि परिबोनी आपण सेतरे भूल किछ नै बुझ पाइले
क्लियर हो गला सर एटा पूरा सेटा डिपेंड करची का पैसा गवर्नमेंट पैसा ले समति मांटी दे आप
काई ना सेतरे से जो गवर्नमेंट पैसा माने कोन सेटा हम मानकर समस्तकर पैसा सो हम माने सेटा को माने समस्तकर सेतरे हक इक्वल अछि ना
एटा क्लियर हो गला सर पूरा
हां आ आपण को पॉकेट रो पैसा को जदि मानकर पाक
मो इच्छा देबी मो इच्छा रे मु जाउ देबी हो
आपण पु को देबे पड़ोस रो पु काई देबे
एटा ठीक कथा सर एटा बुझियला क्लियर हो गला डिपेंड अपन जोडे गवर्नमेंट पैसा लागुची हम सेटा कहया जे
एग्जैक्टली जदि स्कूल रे आपण हेडमास्टर अछंदी आपण प्राइवेट स्कूल रे हेडमास्टर अछंदी प्राइवेट स्कूल रो कथा को कहूची माने आपण हेडमास्टर अछंदी बोली कहू नै मु गुटे एग्जांपल खेल दू प्राइवेट स्कूल रे आपण हेडमास्टर अछंदी आपण स्कूल रो गुटे पॉलिसी अछि जे पिला को स्कॉलरशिप देबे सेटा स्कूल डिसाइड करियो किंतु सरकार को जदि स्कूल रे आपण गुटे हेडमास्टर अछंदी सरकार को गुटे पॉलिसी अछि आपण ताको उल्टा सीधा करियो सेटा ठीक नै ठीक अछि
हां ओके सर बुझियला ठीक अछि
ओके सेत पय तो हमर जेमति होनी कि जे हमर जो विभिन्न रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी अछि हमर एबे भी लड़ाई चलनी कि जे जो मानकर क्रीमी लेयर को आइलिनी जो माने तीनटा जनरेशन दुईटा जनरेशन रिजर्वेशन पाइलिनी सने काई कि रिजर्वेशन पाइ सने तो जहा ताकर असुविधा दिला ताटो ऊपर को उठलेनी सने नॉर्मल लोगों ऊपर सोसाइटी रे चललेनी ताको रिजर्वेशन काई दिया एटा जो चलची हमर कथा सेटा भी सेही लॉजिक रे चलची से गोटे एथिकल इशू सेटा भी पब्लिक लाइफ रे किंतु इलेक्शन पय पॉलिटिशियन उडा सेटा को मानु नांदी कि सुन नांदी Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good
Thank
night,
you, sir.
sir.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, sir.